And probably part of it is being a little too stoic, taking it in on ourselves and expecting that, hey, I can deal with this, right? And it's hard to be vulnerable and ask for help when you come to the point where you really, really need it.
Welcome to the Resilient Gentleman Podcast with your hosts, Douglas Berger and Christopher Payton. This show is all about forging unbreakable men on a path to greatness. Welcome to the show.
Welcome back, everybody, to The Resilient Gentleman with my favorite co-host, Chris Payton.
It's very easy to be your favorite when I'm your only co-host.
And aren't we the two favorite resilient gentlemen out here by now?
We're getting there.
Quite?
I think so. Yeah, and if we aren't, if you aren't following along on YouTube, we do have all of our episodes posted to YouTube. We have our Facebook page, Facebook group. If you're not following there, jump in there. We have content. We're going back and forth with y'all and talking through a lot of the challenges y'all are facing and, really starting to dive in. So I think that's a great, been very cool for me to kind of bounce some ideas off you in there. And
absolutely. And it's going to open up a forum or a gathering place of sorts for people to come talk with us. Yeah. Help get engaged, give us something to talk about, but let us help each other. And there's a good place for us to kind of meet up and see where we can help and get everybody moving forward positively for this 2026.
Yeah, I love that.
So,
and a lot of that is we built this, and when you came to me and said, "Hey, dude, I think I want to start a podcast. I want you to be my co-host," and a lot of the mission, if you will, of it was giving something back.
Correct. From
your experience, from my experience, from the lives we've lived and continue to live and all that. And I think this Facebook group we've got going is a great place to kind of get started, see if it's a good fit for you, maybe find accountability, all that stuff. So if you're not following there, you can follow us on TikTok, follow us on Facebook and YouTube, like I said. But
yeah, and if you get tired of us, at least we'll have some solid resources in there that you can reach out to.
That's right. Yeah, no doubt.
But why would you do that? So anyway, what are we talking about today? Mental health.
Ooh.
All right. What's that mean for guys like us or the average person out there? And actually, probably more importantly, the question could be, what does it look like?
Mental health.
Or someone that could be struggling.
Did you tell me that's what we're going to talk about today? I'm just kidding.
Just do it out there.
Mental health is such a vast topic, right? And it ranges from, I guess sober-minded all the way to crazy. I mean, right? And crazy isn't just bouncing off the wall, need a straitjacket. That some high performers I've seen are crazy.
Yep.
Right. So
good point.
To me, there's a need in this country, for sure in this country, locally likely.
Yep. Absolutely.
Of mental health communication.
Yep.
Just talking about it. What's going on in your life? What's going on in your world? What are you dealing with? What are you dealing with at work, at home, the kids, the wife? Why don't we talk about it?
Yeah, I think fear is one. Social acceptance. I mean, do we really want to admit to people that we're not okay? Right? We talked about this before.
Yeah.
Are you okay? No.
Right.
But what about that person that's not okay and they can't say, no, I'm not okay?
Yeah. I think there's something to be said for those around us.
Yep.
And you said it, like the social impact of that and the stigma maybe that comes with not being okay, right? Well, what do you mean? You're not man enough? You're not built for this, or you haven't, built up the resiliency or whatever.
There's more pressure right there.
All this new pressure, old pressure, is sitting there, and we're dealing with the stigma of not being man enough.
Yep.
So I don't want to tell you that I'm struggling because I don't want you to think I'm not built for it. Yeah. I'm not tough enough to handle all the stuff you're tough enough to handle.
And it's hard to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Very hard, especially when you're ego-driven, dominant personality, type A, whatever. I mean, I'm Generation X, right? I'm 53 years old. I mean, you don't show any sign of weakness. No way. And even that's the way we were brought up. I mean, that's a hard hill to climb, or a hard fence to leap, so to speak, to get to that point where you are vulnerable, but then feeling safe enough that it's okay to say it when you say it.
Well, sure. And I think even, jumping on a podcast and saying, hey, I'm about to be vulnerable is not what I'm thinking when I walk in here and say, hey, I'm not okay today or whatnot. I don't think it needs to be blasted all over social media. It doesn't have to be blasted all over YouTube and TikTok and all the
I agree, because the
areas.
response from that isn't always great when you see people venting on social media. But what are the signs to look out for friends or family or someone that might be silently suffering, right? What are some of those things? Like maybe someone's a little bit more distant than they have been. Maybe they're not involved with the community as much. Maybe they're not hanging out with their friends as much. Maybe they're just down and don't know how to express it, or thinking that they can figure it out on their own. Like, what are some of those signs that maybe we can be more receptive to, or open to, or looking for some of those? And actually, this is funny. I talked about this months ago on the radio show with Mike Sparks, and we're just reaching out on occasion to someone you haven't heard from in a while. Shoot him a text. Hey man, how you doing? Just been thinking about you. Everything cool? You want to get together, grab a beer or play golf or hang out, have a coffee or something like that. Sometimes a little touch can make the world.
Let's expand on that, because I find myself, and maybe I'm going to expose a little bit of selfishness here, is that if I send that text message or I make that phone call and I'm thinking this is a 3 to 5 minute exchange, and it turns out it's going to take 30 or an hour.
You'd be pulling an all-nighter.
Yeah, Douglas needs to vent, and I didn't expect that coming. It's not that I don't want to be there for you, but at the same time, I think that's what shuts down a lot of that.
It does.
Communication anyways, because I'm not
I got prepared. A lot on my plate. Do I really want to reach out? Do I have time if someone really needs it?
Yeah.
That's a good perspective, because it's true.
It's the reality perspective. I don't know that it's a good position to be in. It doesn't feel good when I said it.
Yep.
Like, oh man, that is pretty selfish of
You're
me
a
not
horrible
to reach
person.
out.
You're not Superman at all.
Well,
just kidding. At least you're being honest, and it's true. It's the same thing that's going through everybody's mind. Yeah. Right? I got so much on my plate, right? Can I or should I really reach out? Because maybe I'm not good enough either. However, I think it's still worth its weight for the effort.
Yeah, and that's fair. I think there's so you reach out, you get that feedback. And a lot of times, I don't know that it's instant, but can you trigger? I hate that word, but can you trigger someone's, realization that things aren't where they want them to be by making that? Hey man, I was just thinking about you. I want to make sure you're okay. Yeah. Oh, I'm all good. Everything's good. And then they sit there on it and go, should I be better? This sucks. Maybe I am not good. No, I already told him I was fine. How does that, I don't know. Are you triggering a negative response?
I don't think so. Like if I received a text from that and I was like, oh, that's cool. I haven't heard from him in a while or whatever. That's awesome. Maybe in some circumstances that might come up. And then if there's a real issue, would that be enough anyway? Probably not.
Yeah.
But you have to gauge that with the relationship and what else you're seeing after that, I would assume.
Well, and so, yeah, all right. So that goes down the path of, we talked a few weeks ago when dealing with fitness, but having an accountability partner. But, having somebody who you feel comfortable with to text or call when things aren't going the way you want them to, is that, because I don't feel like, the guy you met last Tuesday at the after hours chamber event, you text and say, "Hey, how's your mental health, my friend?" It was great meeting you Tuesday. Right. But I was thinking about
That'd be
you
a little
and
taboo.
it could be, and also the trust isn't there.
Of course.
And so establishing that trust and relationship, I mean, you and I have known each other 6-7 months.
Forever.
I don't know that my deeper secrets and, thoughts are coming out in the first text message you sent me.
Good point.
And I think our relationship is going that direction where I trust you not to expose it to the world, but then you go and host a podcast where you put me out there.
Put everything out there.
But you know what I'm saying?
I think
there's there's a level of
you're right. It's absolutely
trusting someone
and ritual or common ground and or regular existence. Like, for example, if Brandon, your workout buddy, if you missed a day, all right, no big deal. But now it's gone 2 or 3 days.
Sure.
That's a flag. You're like, all right, I need to rein this guy. Something's going on. What's going on?
Right.
And you would probably either go see him directly or pick up the phone immediately. And I'm sure you'd be more intently with that because that's a closer relationship. So that's probably more the angle I'm looking at is people, not necessarily in your inner circle, but your secondary circle, the ones that you see on a regular basis and that you would notice a change like that. Definitely coworkers in the same office space would probably qualify.
Okay.
Like maybe you have someone that's jovial all the time, always in a good mood. Then all of a sudden for 2 weeks, super quiet, barely seen, not necessarily as outspoken as they normally are. That's what I was kind of getting at. What are some areas that we can kind of put forth some kind of effort to see if we can spot anything where we can kind of help?
Yeah, for sure. Well, so, okay, I see what you're saying. Now, who do we want people reaching out to us that are in that secondary circle? I keep looking at this from the perspective of, myself, right? That's usually the perspective we look out of. But, if someone in a networking group in Franklin texted me and said, "Hey man, I haven't seen you in a few weeks." That's cool. I mean, I'm cool with that. Yeah. Hey, yeah, just been busy, focusing on Murfreesboro.
Yep.
But there's also then the next level where I'm consistently at that meeting and he says, "Hey, in your presentation, you just seemed angry. You seemed off. Is everything good?" I mean, that, so to your point, watching for those types of signs, strange anger that's not normally there.
Aggravation. Yep.
Yeah. Getting frustrated with little things, it seems, so if you're used to someone's typical demeanor and you see that often, it's hard to see that from someone you see once a month or you see once a quarter or something.
Correct.
But someone who's in your regular circle.
Yeah.
Well, let's circle back to the stigma part though, because that also presents a scenario as well where, again, the trust thing. But if I tell you, yeah, something's going on, I'm struggling financially, I'm struggling emotionally. My wife, she went out and I told her not to. Okay, all right. Now what? Now what are we doing? Now what? I don't know your wife. I don't know you that well. Like, how deep do I go with that conversation?
Let's grab a coffee. Let's see where you're at.
Okay.
Let's talk. Let's chat.
Okay.
See what you need to get off your chest. I think maybe the majority of the time it could just be a little bit of venting that could be needed. Or, with a deeper dive, maybe it's more than that. But I think that's what it's got to start off with is maybe just a nice casual conversation. And
sure.
break down some barriers, right? That hard shell that we have, see if we can crack that a little bit and get some internal perspective from them and what they're going through. And hopefully majority of it's just normal daily stuff that we can go through our lifetime, especially, when you're in certain ages and have certain demands on you. But then, if it's deeper than that, then of course, maybe we have to lead in a different direction by providing resources and or connections to someone that's more adequate for the job.
Yeah. Well, and, I think you can start to sense that, right, in that conversation. And maybe, one of our greatest fears, and I think you and I both have a heart for other men and obviously fitness and growing into this resilient gentleman. That's why we did this.
Yep.
But, and I think you mentioned it, and we don't have statistics, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot for numbers and stuff like that, but suicide rates are through the freaking roof.
Yeah, men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than women. And then as a man gets a little bit older in age beyond, there's struggles in every decade of your life, technically. But then as those pressures increase, like maybe it's job, family, kids, and other outside sources coming at you, it could be a real struggle. And then if you do have some kind of mental issues that are running alongside that too, it can be very challenging.
Yeah. And
probably part of it is being a little too stoic, taking it in on ourselves and expecting that, hey, I can deal with this, right? And it's hard to be vulnerable and ask for help when you come to the point where you really, really need it.
So there was a gentleman on TikTok, and I spend a little bit of time on TikTok because I do a lot of social media.
I just
posting.
got on TikTok for the first time. I'm like, this is weird.
It can be, and it's a vacuum. It sucks you in and will keep you there. But, unfortunately committed suicide. And he, up until that point, it was like a TikTok shop guy. And if you're not familiar with that, he sells products on TikTok and, they've got all their shop affiliates and all this stuff. Well, like literally the day before, he's selling products. And then the day of, he posts these just brutal videos apologizing to his mom and kids. And
it's sad.
I wasn't following him. I didn't know who he was. It just comes across your feed all of a sudden. And you see that. And to me, it's one of the things that drives me to be involved in this. Yep. And part of this is, and I'm not saying he was fine, but yesterday he was doing business, posting like normal. And the next day he decided it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, we've heard from other people that it can come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like have no clue whatsoever. That's how strong men can be.
Right.
They can put up that shield or that facade and you have no idea. Crazy. That's crazy. It's sad. So if whatever we can do or help or whatever to kind of get into that somehow and create some more awareness and some more support, then that'll be awesome. It would be really awesome.
Yeah. And as we talk through this, Trent, can you layer over any hotlines that we are available to us?
Of course.
But this is something that I think isn't talked about enough.
Yeah.
And even the hotlines and the resources and things like that are not as good as, I've got people around me that care about me and that love me and that want to see me through this and want to help, and being available to that, we've got to overcome that selfishness.
Yep. Because
to me, it's, and I'm feeling that weight right this second of what I was feeling 10 minutes ago when I brought it up. Like, that text message is going to take you some time,
it's
potentially,
heavy.
Especially if it results in a conversation that maybe saves someone's life. How much time does that matter?
Yep.
That's all that it matters, right? I mean, nothing else matters in that time.
Because there's somebody that's close to that person. Everything matters. All of it matters. So it's strong. I got goosebumps thinking about that. It's heavy. That's a heavy topic. It really is. I mean, what's the armed services, right? And like 22 seconds or something. Is it 22 a day or
22 a day?
Every two. All right. I was trying to accelerate that number. It's like every 22 seconds, but 22 people. I mean, that's crazy.
It's almost 1 hour.
It's unbelievable.
A few years ago, I think it was like a push-up challenge was going around, and I did that 22 push-ups a day, and that was years ago. I mean, I hope that it's gone down, but I hate that that's
I'm sure it's not going
probably
down.
the stats on that.
That'd be nice if it was, but
and so I have never, and I don't say this that I don't need it. I say this, I've never sought professional help. And, whether it's a doctor telling you that you need support or consistent meetings with a psychologist or psychiatrist or therapist or whatnot.
Yeah. I'm all for it. I mean, I went once and graduated, so.
Well, you're a pro.
I'm just kidding. Sometimes that's the thought, though. Yeah, I went. Yeah. That was great. Yeah, I'm good. But no, I've been to a handful of therapists. And actually, one time I talked to a therapist for maybe a dozen times or something, a week after week, one quick session, 30 minutes or so over the phone when I was going through my first divorce. So I've used it, and just being astounded because then I definitely felt more alone in that relationship versus the one I have now.
Yeah.
And so that was a great resource that I had someone, to bounce my stuff off of, right? That I didn't feel like, 'cause all my kids were very, very young. Can't talk to them about it. And then, maybe weren't as close to my parents or other family members as I should have been. That's my own fault, probably, with the communication with that. So having that source to talk to on a weekly basis for a little while was very beneficial for me through that time.
So, and I spend a significant amount of time in church. I've kind of grown up in church. I had some tough times where I walked away or I, avoided going to church and things like that. I've tried to keep, Christ at the center of my life and my focus, but at the same time, there's, that those thoughts and the enemy gets in our minds and starts telling we're not good enough, starts telling us that, nobody's going to miss us. We're not. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. A lot of it's selfishness, right? It's Douglas and Chris Payton are busy. And so we didn't think about texting you today. Don't think I'm open to you texting me. Please text me.
Yeah.
If you're not okay, text me.
Please. But we all tend to be more reactionary than proactive in most situations because we have a lot on our plate. We really do. So I can understand. It's totally understandable how people can struggle. And I think being faith-based and having a church community, I think that's a great place to start.
Sure.
To have somewhere to go if you need someone to talk to.
Well, I think, and one of the things we talk about at our church, I go to Christian Life Church on Cason Lane here in Murfreesboro. And one of the things that we talk about all the time, the church is made up of imperfect people. You don't go to the doctor because you're feeling good. You go to the doctor because something's not right. And so going to church, you don't have to be perfect to walk in.
Right.
And arguably you may never reach that. It's a course of
it's impossible.
Yeah, of sanctification over time and nonetheless having more and more people around you that care about you and that love you and want to see you through a lot of those situations. That's
your own support group.
That's right. Absolutely.
Whether it's totally engagement or just the presence, the weekly routine, the same faces, familiar faces, the commonalities, the common ground, and then whatever branches off from that. And then, of course, majority of them have separate groups that are even more
small
in-depth.
groups or
you can do
community
one-on-ones,
groups for sure.
Right. So I think that's a good place for people to start if they
awesome.
need a little extra something.
Yeah, and if you want an invite or you want to join me at church, just shoot me a message in the group. I'd be happy to arrange that with you as well. And if you're looking for somewhere to check out, definitely always up for that.
If you're looking to play golf, call me.
Yeah, that's a great place too. I mean, that's a great segue here into.
We always bring it back to activity.
Fitness and activity for sure, because that's 4 hours, 4.5 hours that you get to spend talking with Douglas Berger, and
you get to know each other, right, Trent?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I've heard the thing, something like you can learn more about an individual playing a round of golf than like 3 or 4 years of friendship.
for sure.
I actually believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny to watch us in and out of the woods and everything, you know.
You really see their
a lot of character and integrity.
Their integrity. Yeah, if you're out here trying to cheat.
My golf game definitely is a good visual of my personality.
Yeah. All over the place. Left, right.
Well, as we kind of come to a close on this episode, I appreciate you bringing this whole thing to the table. I think that this is an area that we need more exposure, and we need to continue to talk through and determine, what are best practices, but how do I go about helping out the guy that it just seemed off?
Yep.
And a lot of it's getting past the selfishness, making some time, even if it's scheduling time, and saying, hey, I'm going to text Douglas Tuesdays and Thursdays, or I'm going to text him Mondays and Fridays, or whatever it is, and see how his week went. And just be a check-in partner and be there for 5 minutes, or be there for as long as it takes.
And having that awareness for maybe some warning signs or something to look out for. Just to, give you that a little initiative to reach out and say, hey, man, what's going on? Let's grab a coffee or something.
For sure.
I haven't talked to you in a while. Let's sit down and catch up.
And if you aren't I mentioned it at the beginning in our Facebook group, The Resilient Gentleman, just search that out. You can find the group. You can find the Facebook page. You can find us on YouTube, find us on TikTok. You drop me a message, drop Douglas a message, and, we'll reach out. We can communicate through it. We can find resources, or just be that listening ear that you need to talk through some stuff. Would love to be that for you. And so I spoke for you as well.
I appreciate it.
I think that's the truth.
All things spread the positive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. And we want to be a good resource and an engaged community. And, we're going to have some fun too. We're going to check us out on the personal side and try to get some events together where we can hang out and meet
cool.
people and
do some meetups.
And maybe some of it's a little accountability driven, like some, I don't know, maybe a 5K or something. I keep bringing it up. Or maybe we'll go bowling or something one day. Let's start easy.
Speaking of accountability, in the near future, we've got the Hume Health, my stats
check-in.
That's the check-in's coming in the next few weeks. We'll get to that.
Hey, I got to admit, though, just because we started talking about it, I got even more motivated.
Did you?
Yep.
Okay.
So I changed my goal already.
Well, good. Great. All right. Well, so that challenge.
I'll let you more later.
I can tell you that if I checked in now, I probably would be disappointed with the results. We've had some road trips for volleyball.
Well, yeah.
We've had some stuff going on. Road trip snacks are not my healthies. I don't go to the healthy section for that.
I got you. That's where we're different. So on those little things like that, I can just
dial in, huh?
Yep. I can fast or whatever pretty easily.
Oh no, I love some peanut butter M&Ms and all right. Well,
Hey, I'm not just totally talking crap. I just had a piece of pie, but we had coffee before this session, so don't think I'm like Mr. Discipline 24/7.
For sure,
there was some peanut butter fudge or something.
You gotta have. Yeah, I know your goal is happiness, so eliminating fudge and peanut butter pie is tough. But as we wrap up here, we've got some fun stuff in the future. I know into the next few weeks we'll have some guests.
Yeah, we got some cool things happening. Stay tuned.
Some venue changes, maybe.
Ooh.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, let's go.
I think everybody's excited for that.
No, but I mean, there's some cool stuff happening. I'm excited. I know our mission is men.
Yep.
Sharpening men.
Yeah. Iron sharpens iron. What was the other quote that was in there that you said earlier?
Let's wrap this up.
We're just going to wrap this up and tie a bow around this one.
We're still working on that.
Nervous about the is it the FCC?
No, we're good.
We're not on the radio, are
The
we?
UFC.
Yeah, right.
This guy.
We're good
all right.
there.
The Resilient Gentleman, I'm Chris Payton.
Douglas Berger.
Sponsored by the 615 Negotiator, your car buying superhero, and
Transworld Business Advisors, Murfreesboro, where we help you sell your business faster and for more money than anybody else.
nice. Let's go. All right.
Good stuff.
That was a good one.
Thank you for listening to the Resilient Gentleman podcast. Be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and of course, please leave us a 5-star review. We will see you on the next one.